So after discussing interrogative and command, we move to the last type or the last part of or the last type of simple sentence, which is the exclamation. We all know the main function of exclamation is to express our amazing about about something. Yeah, our exclamation about something. In discussing exclamation as a formal, please, it is when I want to define exclamation, saying it is a formal category of sentence. A formal category of sentence. We restrict our attention to exclamatory utterances introduced by what's followed by a noun phrase or how. So I have these two exclamatory elements واللي هن what and how followed by a noun phrase. What do they express? These express an extreme degree of some variable factor. We say, how beautiful, how beautiful, how ugly. What do they mean? تشوفون how followed by a noun phrase. You see? But the variable may be left implicit. Thus, what a book could refer to a very bad or to a very good book. طبعا هذه how beautiful, how ugly, it is something okay, it is something clear. But when I say what followed by a noun phrase, say what a book. Oh, what a book. I do not know whether this I express my or that this book is very bad or it is very book. So it is something what ambiguous and not clear. Exclamation resemble WH questions. How? First of all, they involve an initial placement of an exclamatory WH elements. احنا WH سميناها Q elements. بالاكسكليميتر راح نسميه X elements. So they are placed at the beginning of an exclamation. The syntactic order is therefore upset to the extent that X element, which may be object, complement, or adverbial as well as subject, may be taken from its usual sentence position and put into a position of initial prominence. On the other hand, in contrast to WH, there is general no subject operator inversion. يعني بال WH question there I have that inversion between subject and operator. In exclamation I do not have that inversion. I have here more than or various functions for the X elements. As subject, what a enormous crowd came. نريد نعطي syntactic or sentence type نقول SV. وين هال S? What an enormous crowd. تشوفون ما عندي أنا هذه operator before the subjects. It is a normal sentence. As an object, what a time we have had today. You see, the direct object, it is what a time, followed by subject V, I have had as the verb phrase, followed by a اللي هي الادverbial. As a complement, how delightful her manners are. How delightful, the subject complement, her manners subject, and I have are, it is the main verb or the verb phrase. As an adverbial, how I used to hate geography. How it is the adverbial, I subject, used to hate the verb, geography the direct object. What a long time it lasted. What a long time اللي هي الادverb of time, it's subject and V is the verb phrase. The X element, like the Q element of the WH question, can also act as a prepositional complement, the preposition normally being postposed. What a mess we are in. What a mess we are in. هذا طبعا it is what prepositional complement, لكن the preposition will be found at the end of the exclamation. This is all what is related to what the exclamation part of this type. What about formula? When you hear, for example, how do you do? How are you? When you say good morning, good afternoon, what do they mean? They are called formula. What does it mean, formula? They are what? They are ready-made, they are ready fixed, they are exists. There are some sentences which, though appearing to belong to one of the major classes, بأقصد بالمajor classes with declarative, imperative, interrogative, or exclamatory, in fact, enter into few of the relation of substitutability that are common to members of those classes. For instance, the greeting formula appropriate to a first meeting. How do you do? It is formula. How do you do? The greeting formula cannot be coordinated as an indirect question. هذه مو indirect question, though it starts with WH questions, but it is not an indirect question. Why? Let us see. First of all, they cannot be put in the direct speech. I cannot use them as they ask him how he did. لا ما تصير. It is what? Ungrammatical. Or it cannot be answered. Such type of questions cannot be answered. يقول لي how do you do? I cannot answer you saying I do very well. Two slightly less restricted kinds of WH are the question without auxiliary. Why? Say why get so upset? Why not enjoy yourself? تشوفون ما عندي هذه القواعد الخاصة بال WH question. Starting with why, followed by subject verb, followed by the intensifier, and this it do not have a subject, though they are used. They are formula, not ordinary major classes of simple sentence. Again, I have how about, what about the house? How about joining us? They are fixed, they are formula. These are not formula in the previous sense, but are irregular in that they lack some of the elements normally found in a WH. And تشوفوني هنا I do not have a subject, I do not have the predication, هنا I do not have, just I have. How about followed by this phrase? There are also patterns which are defective in terms of regular clause of sentence structure, such as the verbless imperative. Verbless, in which I do not have a verb. And كل شيء أعرف إنه imperative should start with the base form of the verb. I have such imperatives that cannot have a verb, like off with the lid, out with it, down with the buses. You see, they start with a preposition. We do not have a verb here. To this we may add a number of exclamatory type. And تشوفون هو they يشتغلوا من البداية. I have formula examples similar to questions, formula examples similar to imperative, formula examples similar to exclamatory types. Like, if only I had listened to my parents. See, it functions as exclamation, but actually it doesn't have any element of the normal order of exclamation. To think I was once a millionaire, or for a drink, or to be free, you and your statics John and his ideas. طبعا ده نستخدمها احنا normally we use such forms. Apart from such cases, there are sentences which contain fossilized elements no longer predictably used in present-day English. For example, the subjunctive combined with inversion in far be it from me. هذه كلهم subjunctive. إذا تذكرون the types of subjunctive واحدة من عندها الفورمulaic subjunctive. Far be it from me too. Suffice to say, long live. مرات عندي without inversion like God save the queen. A slightly less archaic formula for expressing a wish is may plus subject plus predication. May the best man win. May you be happy. هذه may plus the subject followed by the predication. هذه expressing a wish. Yeah. Leave this note, I think. Yeah. Leave this note. It is not important, not included. 7. The item 7.65 aphoristic sentences. من تشوفون aphoristic sentences there is some sort of balance in a sentence. يعني تشبه نوعا ما what proverbs. Among other minor sentence types is the aphoristic sentence structure found in many proverbs. The more the mirror, least said, soonest mended. Handsome is a handsome does. Easy come, easy go. Yeah. These all have one structural feature in common. One is balancing of two equivalent construction against each other, while they must be all considered grammatically anomalous. For example, the example number 1 has fairly predictive pattern which will be dealt with under يعني it is something, so they are just like proverbs. طبعا we are going to deal with such type of phrases, aphoristic sentences in a separate exercise. The last item in this chapter is the block language. The block language, the language that are used as headlines in newspaper and magazines and the titles, headlines. In addition to the formulas of colloquial conversation, there is a whole realm of usage where because of its rudimentary communicative role, you see, its role, it is communicative. They are formula. There is no rules in such type of language. It is what just to communicate. Language is structures in terms of single words and phrases. You see, single words and phrases, rather than in terms of the more slightly organized units of a clause and sentence. يعني they just put phrases, put words to what? For communication only. Language so used may be termed block language. Block language. يعني من نريد أعرف what does it mean by the block language? It is a language structures in terms of single words and phrases rather than in terms of the more highly organized units of clause and sentence. It appears when نلقيها in such functions: labels, titles, headings, notes, advertising. See? Simple block language messages most often consist of a noun or a noun phrase. هذه الforms when as a noun or a noun phrase, nominal clause in isolation, no verb is needed because all else necessary to the understanding of the message is furnished by context. يعني تشوفون احنا كلنا نشوف exist English department, university, هذه كلها what just they are label or they are titles. Say entrance, English departments, fresh day today, pure lemon juice, grammar, the title of our book, A Grammar of Contemporary English. You see, اللي يشوفون يعني they are labels. How to win friends and influence people. It is the title of a book. In newspaper headlines, abbreviated close structures have been developed. هنا عندي film star marries ex-priests. You see, film star, هذه it is a title or a headline of a newspaper. Yeah. هذه subject, verb, direct object. Election, a landslide for what? Socialites. It is a subject and subject company. You see there is no verb here. Next one to meet Asian primers. S, V, direct objects. Share prices now higher than ever. It is subject. You see, higher, it is what or now, adverbial, higher than other subject complement. So they are used just to what? To communicate. Just to communicate without any attention or more attention to the whether it is a grammatical or not a grammatical. Its function is to what? To put the main important words in a sentence. These differ from orthodox close structures in having different tense convention and in omitting clause system words. عندي شوفون ما عندي الذا والآ والكذا، ما عندي الذا والprepositions، ما عندي articles، ما عندي conjunctions. They put more attention, they put more practice on the open class items. Open class items اللي هو verb, noun, adverb, adjective of low information value, such as the article, and there is no need for the articles and the finite verbs of the be. Yani, look at this note, the last note in this chapter. Prohibition on note boards often use the special block language form of a noun phrase introduced by no. No smoking. See, this type of a block language starting with what? Prohibition. No smoking. No entry. You see? So these are what? Notes on preposition concerning or starting with no followed by a noun phrase. تم هذا الفصل بحمد الله تعالى. By God's will, today I will provide you with all related or what we have left from the exercise with its answers, or with their answers, sorry. All the best, my good students.